All right, guys, this is part 5 of the blood vessel lab. All right, so this is the last part. We're going to be going from the heart to your foot or feet and back to your heart. Okay? All right, so, how do we get down to your feet? So we're going to use that same abdominal aorta, so heart, ascending aorta, aortic arch, thoracic aorta, abdominal aorta. Okay, so the abdominal aorta will branch eventually at the very end and become a right common iliac artery and a left common iliac artery. Okay. One thing I forgot to say in the previous 4 parts, some of the pathways, guys, that are in the lab manual are not correct. Okay, so make sure you follow the pathways that I'm presenting here in these introductions. All right, so again, the abdominal aorta will branch, okay, to form the right and the left common iliac. And they're the same, so I'm not going to do both the right and left. Let's just say we'll follow the left side here. Okay, and the left common iliac will branch to form an internal iliac artery and an external iliac artery. Okay. Now, we're not going to really follow the internal past that point. We will follow the external, though. Okay, external iliac artery will pass through the obturator foramen, go to your thigh, becomes the femoral artery. So now we're in your leg. Femoral artery goes behind your knee, becomes the popliteal artery. Okay, and then we go towards the front. We call that the anterior tibial artery. So this is going to be in your shin region now. Okay, which goes all the way down your foot. We call that the dorsalis pedis artery. All right, so to go from your heart to your foot, we would go heart, ascending aorta, aortic arch, thoracic aorta, abdominal aorta, common iliac artery, external iliac artery, femoral artery, popliteal artery, anterior tibial artery, and then dorsalis pedis artery. Okay? All right. So where would we see those? So here's that abdominal aorta. You actually can see here's that inferior mesenteric artery that we did on part 4. Okay? But this is your abdominal aorta, which branches to form a right common iliac artery and a left common iliac artery. Okay? Now the common iliacs, okay, if we do the left side here, for example, forms an internal iliac artery, which is the farthest we're going to go here, and an external iliac artery right here. Okay? Same thing on the right side. Right common iliac forms an internal iliac artery and an external iliac artery. Okay? So these are the internals. These out here are the external arteries. All right, so on this particular torsal model, all right, we're going to actually follow the right side. We're going to pass through the obturator foramen coxal bone. Okay, so here, that external iliac artery, okay, will then become the femoral artery in your thigh. So this is the femoral artery. And this is the farthest we can go on this model because, again, the legs are cut off the torsal model. Okay, so common iliac, okay, so the abdominal aorta, common iliac artery, branches to form internal and external iliac. We'll follow the external. Okay, we pass the obturator foramen, and here now is the femoral artery. Okay, so let's go to this leg model right there. Okay, and let's backtrack. Let's go back into the pelvis here. You actually can see here is a common iliac artery, which branches to form an internal iliac artery. I'm not going to really follow that one though. And an external iliac artery. We pass the obturator foramen. Now in your thigh, well, here is the femoral artery right there. Okay, so common iliac, internal iliac, external iliac, femoral artery. Okay, so now we're going to go behind the knee. Okay, we're going to go back here. You can see behind the knee, there in red, well, there is the popliteal artery right there. Okay. And then we're going to go towards the shin. We're going to take off that muscle. And then right here, that's deep. We see this right here. This is the anterior tibial artery. So we go from popliteal artery behind the knee to the front here. This is the anterior tibial artery. And then from the anterior tibial artery, we're now on your foot. You can see in red here. Well, there is the dorsalis pedis artery right there. Yeah, dorsalis pedis. This is labeled incorrectly. Let me actually fix this right now. This should say dorsalis pedis. Okay. So right there, dorsalis pedis. All right, so this is another leg model that we have, right? We can use this one also. So here you can see the femoral artery. Okay, from the femoral artery, we then go behind the knee. Well, there's the popliteal artery. Okay, we go in front of the shin. Well, there is your anterior tibial artery. And they don't really show the dorsalis pedis on this. Okay, so we wouldn't use the new leg to show you dorsalis pedis. Okay, so here's your anterior tibial right there. Okay, so how do you go then from your leg back to your heart? Okay, so it's pretty much the same, guys, but the thing is we're not going to be starting off with dorsalis pedis. Okay, we're going to be really starting off with the anterior tibial artery. Oh, there's an arrow that's messed up there. I'll leave it there. Okay, so anterior tibial to popliteal, anterior tibial vein to popliteal vein to femoral vein. We're basically going backwards, right? External iliac vein, common iliac vein, inferior vena cava, right? So the two common iliacs merged, inferior vena cava, back to the heart. Okay, so pretty much the same in terms of veins that we did arteries, right? So instead of starting off with dorsalis pedis vein, though, we start off with the anterior tibial vein, popliteal vein, femoral vein, external iliac vein, common iliac vein, inferior vena cava, back to the heart. Okay, so same thing's happening on the right. So I didn't really want to have to show you twice. So same thing's happening on the right side. Now there's also something called the great saphenous vein. Okay, it's on the medial side of your leg, right? And the great saphenous vein feeds into the femoral. Okay, so again, that's another correction that you guys need to make on your lab manual. Okay, because some of the packets again are incorrect. Okay. All right, so where do we find this on a model? Well, we find it on this old leg model. All right, so let's kind of look at this here. Where we find it? Again, we're going to look at the shin portion here towards the front. So here is your anterior tibial vein. It's actually deep, guys, and we don't have a picture of it. So if I put a sticker towards the front here, the shin part here, and it's blue, well, that's going to be the anterior tibial vein. We're going to go behind the knee now. So we're going to go back here from this perspective, behind the knee. Well, there's the popliteal vein in blue behind the knee. Okay, and then it's all right here. Okay, it's a deep vein, so you don't see much of it because most of it's in the thigh here. But I'm showing you in this picture right here. We're kind of zoomed in this region right here. Okay, and you can see it's this vein right here, not this one that's coming up, not this one that bubbles up here, but this one that it feeds into. This one right here. Well, there's the femoral vein right there. Okay, we'll talk about what this one is later on, but this one right here, there's your femoral. Okay, so we go anterior tibial vein, popliteal vein, femoral vein. Okay, all right, there's also the great saphenous vein. Okay, so here's the big toe, and we see that from the big toe running on the medial side of your leg, we have this very long vein that goes all the way up the leg. Okay, so starting at the big toe, going all the way up the leg, this is the great saphenous vein right here. Okay, so it goes up your knee, goes up your thigh, goes all the way up. And we're going to zoom in this region right here. So here's that great saphenous vein. Okay. Sorry. Here's that great saphenous vein. It's going to bubble up right here, and it feeds into the femoral. Okay, so it goes all the way up the medial side of your leg, and eventually it feeds into the femoral vein. Okay? All right, so here's that torsal model again. Here's your femoral vein. That's another model we can use. And then coming from the medial side here, we can see that is your great saphenous vein feeding into the femoral. We're going to pass through the obturator foramen, right? Oh, gosh. Let's correct this. This is your external iliac vein. Okay, there's your external iliac vein. You don't have to know this one. This is your internal iliac vein. Okay, but go external iliac vein, and this here is your common iliac vein. Okay, and we feed into the inferior vena cava right here. Okay, so the same thing's happening on the right side. So here's a external iliac vein. Okay, here's an internal iliac vein that you don't have to know. Here's a common iliac vein. So when the two common iliac veins, the left common oh my gosh, sorry, another mistake, typo. Do that one more time. All right, now it's all fixed. All right, so femoral vein passes through the obturator foramen. Okay, we then become the external iliac vein, common iliac vein, and then the inferior vena cava. Okay, so same thing's happening on the right. External iliac vein, common iliac vein, two common iliacs merge to form the inferior vena cava, and again we know that goes back to the right atrium and goes back to the heart. All right, so what you guys have to know, you got to make sure you know all the different pathways that we talked about, okay, in terms of our introductions, parts 1 through 5 for the blood vessel lab. Okay, be able to know it front and back. So name the next, name the previous. All right, so make sure you know it for lab exam 3. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. All right, so it's the last part of this particular lab, blood vessel lab. All right, have a good day.